Hello and welcome to the Swim Brief. Abi Liu, who's just coming off of leading a USA swimming select camp. She's also in a new job. She's the head coach. Is that the correct title? Bellevue Swim Club?
Bellevue Club swim team, yes.
Okay, Bellevue Club Swim Team. And first off, just how was the select camp? How was that experience?
I was filled with pride and gratitude. And I think that's a coach's dream. When you have 50 fastest 15 to 17-year-olds in one pool, that energy just fills you up, as I shared with athletes at the camp. As much as we share our knowledge and wisdom with them, but their energy feeds back into us. And swimming is a two-way sport. It's not just coach the athletes, but the athlete, we as coaches can learn so much from the athletes as well. And everybody's different, right? There's 50 of them and there are 50 different personalities, and there's 50 different ways to absorb and give back. So for me, it was just a kid in a candy store and just like, what do you do? What do you do? Not only that, as well as working with amazing staff there and just chatting with them and watching how they conduct their workouts on the pool deck. Like I said, it was just 4 days of amazing work with everyone.
Yeah, we had our own, one of the reasons I'm bringing you on here is we had our own Jake Shackelford on the camp, and we were chatting a little bit about it offline. It sounds like, he behaved himself, so that's really good. We're very proud of Jake.
For the most part, what I know. So I don't know, after bet check, I don't know what happened. But.
Right. But so, one of the things you were telling me about earlier, which I think is a really good point about a camp like this is, it was a 4-day event, but really there was a lot of preparation that went into those 4 days. And now there's probably going to be even more work to do afterwards. Take us back to the beginning. Like, where does it start when you're preparing for this sort of thing? And I guess there's some unique circumstances, right? Because as I learned from Jake, like USA Swimming hasn't held a camp like this for a couple of years. So you guys, in a sense, were breaking the ice on something. You mentioned also that the camp was away from Colorado Springs. It was in Southern California. So talk a little bit about, the outset of you getting involved and planning for something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was an honor just to be on staff. Just doing any camp is great, but this camp, I believe, is highest level camp. And statistically, there was always Olympians coming out of these camps. And you look at these Olympians and Russell Mark, the guru of USA Swimming stats, he'll tell you, so-and-so went to this year and so-and-so went to this year. So many Olympians went through this camp. And to me, this is, as a staff, that was absolutely an honor to be on it. So really tracing back the work, it started 2 months before that. And people who don't know, there are a lot of planning, and even myself, I don't even know what USA Swimming, Sam and Caitlin, they did a great job planning this whole thing, and especially given the circumstances, this is not in Colorado Springs, and there are a lot of challenges. There's no swimming pools inside of a training center in Chula Vista. So it just adds a little bit more challenge. And as staff, we all have to be flexible and be creative at the same time. But once the staff was selected and we had our initial meeting and get to know each other, talk about the basics of camps and the athletes already selected by then, share the roster. But at the same time, for me, I want to make sure I can control the controllables. And when you get to the camp, there are a lot of things that it's uncontrollable. So want to make sure that workouts are done, the communications are done prior to that within the staff. So we started a Google Doc, and with a schedule, 5 workouts. We want to make sure the team get to know each other. Workout number 1, the team come together. Workout number 5. In between, they get a taste of different workouts based on their own specialty events. So workout number 1 and 5 was team workout. And number 2, 3, 4, we broke into distance, which Jake wrote great distance sets. I'm going to steal from him. He's amazing. I am sets. It was Derek Young from SMAC, great coach. And then myself, I wrote the stroke workouts. So the flyers and the breaststrokers and backstrokers was me with a larger group. And then there's sprint group. Chris also wrote that. So, and once that's all in a Google Drive and we were ready to go way ahead of time. And we coaches and staff arrived on Wednesday, and then kids start arriving on Thursday. So knowing the office would be closed, we have every single workout printed, a stack of it, everything ready to go, because that's something that we can control, right?
Right.
If a car broke down, or if the pool is not available, or if a kid gets sick, that's not something foreseeable. We don't know. So we're just kind of have to go with the flow, right? So once the kids arriving on Thursday, we have a whole flow of checking them in, getting their COVID test, checking them into the dorm room. So that was rather smooth. So as far as behind the scene work, that was already done before everybody arrived. Now we had amazing camp. Now afterwards, the workouts were shared with the kids and their home coaches. And so that we are very transparent with what we did and how we do things. And again, any questions that coaches might have, we love to share and learn and communicate as well. Russell Mark had videotaped his famous GoPro, everybody's underwater swimming. And it was some amazing footages. And that was also shared with all the athletes as well. Then we have amazing speakers. We have a mindful training coach. We had sports psych talk and sport nutrition. And all those presentations will be shared with athletes too. Furthermore, I, as a fan of these girls, I'm going to follow along their swimming career, right?
Yeah.
And next time I see them on the pool deck, I'll give them a high five, right? And seeing them, watching, many of them already committed to colleges. And those are I'm going to be following them and just see how well they do. I know how good they are, how far they can go. And now they're in their great college programs. It's going to be amazing just to follow. So those are just kind of logistical things that happened. Furthermore, as we talked about, this is the first time in Chula Vista. Personally, I think that was a better location. It's also my
Then
first
Colorado Springs, you mean?
Than Colorado Springs. I mean, people are going to be like, that's a bold statement. Everybody talk about, the dining hall, right? The food at Colorado Springs. I think Chula Vista food's better. I mean, if the viewers,
the gauntlet has been thrown. The food is better in Chula Vista.
I mean, it's a very bold. First thing that I noticed was the food was better. It's just like, I don't know, the seafood and the variety of the food that we had was great, except there's no ice cream machine. The ice cream machine was shut down. So,
oh my gosh.
But if your viewers are going to the boys camp or interested in a boys camp and then following up, it will be the diversity camp. So it's 3 camps back to back. USA Swimming is putting everything together and putting so much work in there. I hope they're excited about the dining hall food there. In addition, we have suites of 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. So we all have our own bathroom, and not like Colorado Springs, you have to use a communal bathroom, and getting in and out, it's rather inconvenient. So that was really, really nice. The only thing, like I said, there's no swimming pool in Chula Vista, but there's training center, but there's a local college, Southwestern College, community college, 250 meters pool, plus a learn to swim pool. So we were so fortunate. We're able to do long course pool long course workouts in the morning, and then short course workouts in the afternoon. And the staff there were just very accommodating. So we were actually really I really liked the setup, how Chula Vista was run. In addition, when coaches obviously have to be bus drivers. And so we were driving 15-passenger van. And that's the time that you get to know these athletes so much more, right? They're chatting, you're just listening, engaging, singing the songs together. There were many selfie videos of kids singing, Katy Perry, but it was awesome.
Yeah. I'm curious as I listen to you talk about this, and as I told you, I was prepping, listening to other podcasts. But what, like, when you uh, got to lead this camp, what other experiences did you draw upon? Like, what did you go like, okay, this is going to be kind of like when I did this,
Mhm.
and I'll take this piece out,
Yeah.
and that'll help us do a nice camp. I feign ignorance. I don't know whether you've been involved in a USA swimming camp before. So maybe you're like, okay, yeah, I do this every couple of years, Chris. So this is my fifth run and like I've got it down. But what kind of experiences did you draw upon
That's
to
great.
sort of
I,
get
I
this?
actually ran a few camps before, and my very first camp appearance was 2009, the
Okay.
diversity camp, and that was very early on. USA Swimming started doing it. I believe that was the first one,
Okay.
and my I just went in, just eyes wide open, like what is everybody doing? And for me, I was somewhat still a new coach, about probably 10 years into my coaching career, but still like giving somebody who didn't grow up in a country. I didn't know many coaches, and I'm very fortunate now that I've formed great relationships and friendships with many colleagues. But
Yeah.
back then I went in, I was like, who are you? Like, I don't know, like, but went in with complete open-mindedness and learn and form relationships. And that really helped me in the last 12 years or so. But 2019, I was the head coach of diversity camp as well. Even though it's under different camp name, but the energy is absolutely the same. Everybody coming
Right.
from different parts of country, different clubs, but they're swimming under one cap, right? Team USA. And seeing that unity that's something that's similar across all board. And for me to be a part of it, like I said, it's just really helped my growth immensely. At the end of the camp, Russell Market and I talked and say, did you feel any different this camp than the previous camps? And I'm like, you know what? I did.
Okay.
From external wise, I think coming off in a Olympic year, the energy, the hype is still there. And many of these girls, obviously, they were at the Olympic trials and then feeds into it coming off. It's
Yeah.
just faster. For some reason, they just feel faster and more motivated and more willingly to do things. And I think when we talk about fast swimming and Olympians and watching the videos, and including, Russell Mark got a great underwater video clip of Lydia Jacoby, right?
Mm.
And also her involvement in her LSC work and outside the pool. And that just seems so much more relatable, right? One, I mean, fresh off Olympic gold medalist,
Right.
but also it's somebody their age, and it's amazing to go that far. It's so relatable. But at the same time, for me as a coach, I felt I shifted my focus on really just kind of doing, what are we doing in the pool? What are we doing in the pool? Rather focusing on how do we get them emotionally hyped up, emotionally united with each other. How do we build that teamwork into such a short day? 4 days of camp is pretty short, and everybody came from different parts and different personalities. How that to me was a different approach, and little things we did. And really at the end, when I talked to them the night before everybody depart, I said, right now we're all feeling a little bit of a end of vacation blues, and we've been
Right.
together, right? We've been together 24/7 for the last 4 days, and now like y'all gonna go to different parts and separate. It's sad. I mean, to me, I felt that sadness, and some girls start all teary-eyed. Truly, it's really just within the 4 days we built a large family together. But this was not end. It was beginning of something, and they're still going to compete and follow each other in the college career, as well as even beyond that in national, international stage. It was a great opportunity for them to form that. Share a fun story. Very last workout, as everybody were Team USA cap, flat cap,
Yep.
and we were doing some sprint sets and pretty hard, but everything's partner work. Again, I'm a very big in building the teamwork in the pool. So every set they have to switch partners and doing various things. And so one girl, she is absolutely a leader. Ella Welch. Remember that name. She's going to be something else.
Okay. You heard it here first. Yeah.
Whether in the pool or outside the pool, and she's going to be a leader. So she said, Coach Abby, come here. So I went and she said, I have a proposal. Can we do hero swim, get out swim? And I said, why? She said, just like one of the speakers said, we'll never have the same team ever again. So let's just put the team together. And I said, well, you know, that's a pretty good proposal. Let's do
This
it.
is why I'm seeing why she's a leader now, based on
she's so
that
good.
pitch. Yeah, that's a good pitch.
I can't argue with that clearly, right?
Right.
So
right.
I said, okay. So I pulled everybody out, right? 50 girls on the pool deck. Everybody's talking over each other. And I said, okay, I have a proposal. We're going to go 2-person relay teams, and you're going to go 100 freestyle. And any team, whichever team that goes under 45-56, the whole team's out. That's American record.
Yeah.
And so then everybody's talking over, you know, again, 50 girls, right? So Ella goes, everybody stop. And then she's like, loud in outdoor voice. If you're not a sprinter, go there. So immediately now you have a half a group, right? I told them, I said, I'm not going to tell you or pair you up. You have to figure it out. So again, another way of get to know each other and build that. So she assembled 7 teams of two girls. So 14 people step on the block. She led off of her team 22-9. And the girl after her who didn't know how to do a relay star. So she went from a flat start.
Isn't that amazing? Somebody gets to there without knowing how to do a relay start. No, it's happened to me before. I've told the story many times. Yeah, but it is amazing.
And later she told us the story. She says she DQ'd her club team 4 times. And so her coach said, no, from now on, you're going to
only lead off. Yeah.
Lead off, period. And so from that flat start.
Yeah.
And this is another name to remember. Erica Pagaz, and she went at 22-3.
Okay, so I'm doing the math. So they did it.
Yes,
they just divided barely.
45-2. Yeah. And so entire teams behind that. I think Russell Mark had a video of that relay. That was some amazing energy. Again, you know, this is at the end of a 5-day training trip or 4-day training trip, a 5th workout. And this is in practice too. And they got, you know, each got hammered, you know, but previous workouts, and they just got up and swim that fast.
Yeah.
And, you know, something that they did beyond themselves, right? Like the reason was not like, okay, I want to swim this time. I want to swim this fast. But it was like, okay, this is the relay. I'm going to step up and do it for the team and do it for the rest of the team that we can get out. It's a hero. So I'm sure every swim coach have done that in the club, but I just felt like we should do that more often, and not only, you know, get some fast swims going and get them believe certain things that they never thought of, but also it's really bringing the team unity together. But just that time alone, we were like, what? And she did that in a flat start. So it was pretty amazing.
Yeah. And yes, as you say, in the context of like, I know on my end, I saw some of the workouts that Jake was bringing to the camp, and I can assume the other workouts were comparable to that. So the kids were doing some pretty impressive stuff leading up to it on it. Okay. I want to switch gears from camp, because you're in a new job. And as I told you before, like, I love to catch people just as they're starting a new job, because you get this beautiful snapshot of maybe you're beginning to reflect on your time in a previous place, but you've also, you know, like, your mind is maybe more open than any other time, because you're like, I've got to learn everything I need to know to be really successful in this new place. Again, if you could sort of take us back, what initially sparked your interest in Bellevue? What was that like? What sort of turned the key where you went, I'd be really interested in coaching the team?
Yeah. I mean, I founded Peak Swimming in 2010. And so that was my baby. That was really just, you know,
So it's an even bigger move than a normal coaching move. Absolutely. In that sense.
Emotionally, right? Emotionally, is huge unplug. But really, I just, you know, I don't think anybody can ever say they unplug, right? From like, let's say a parent, their kids went to college. Do you just unplug and, you know, just even though you're empty nested, but you always love and care for the people in the program. So in 2010, I formed that program, and we went from 24 people to become a silver medal club in USA Swimming. So that took a lot of work, not just me and, being learning and growing and all that, but it's really takes the whole team and having a supportive group and parents who believe in the process and along the way, as well as even the ones who graduated and still came back and give back to the kids in a program, which I think every program should utilize that resource. Really, it's something special.
Yeah.
But because we were a smaller team, we were never bigger than 125. But really took pride in the quality of work we do. So we were able to obviously to get to a pretty high level, but with very limited resource. By saying that, because we were a smaller team, as a coach or as a head coach or founder, that I wore different hats. I think many coaches can relate, right? We're not just the coach, we're also the team travel logistic person. We also are the communicator between the parents and the kids. And I am in a unique position where I immigrated from China. And in the Bay Area, including here, Bellevue as well, there are a lot of Asian families as well. And when you look at the parents, who a lot of them are first generation immigrants versus the kids, they are Americans. And so they're not only there a generational age gap, but also there's a lot of culture clash, how they see certain things so drastically differently. But for me, I'm fortunate, like being able to see both sides. So I form the communicator a lot of times, a lot of times nothing related to swimming, but try to bridge the gap and form that as a bridge, as a communicator. In addition, I have to do the budget. Obviously, I have to do the financial part of it. I have to do the team communication and securing the pool. There's a lot of things. I'm sure a lot of your viewers can relate. But that all the things I do that really pulled me away from doing what I love to do, that's coaching. As much as we think we're superhumans, there's one point that we think what else can do.
I learned that I wasn't superhuman a long time ago, so
right,
I don't know about everybody else.
I mean, it's a good mentality, but in actuality, in reality, I mean, there's certain things that do wear you down. So this opportunity came up, and Bellevue Club is a gold medal club, and not only that, the structural support and both from the team, from the leadership team, is something that really attracted me. The club we have our own pools. So that half of my gray hair that worries the pool space, and that's out of mind, out of sight.
Well,
right?
Especially coaching in Northern California last year, I can imagine that was probably the single most stressful thing about running a team.
Yeah, I mean, we were
trying to get into a pool.
Town. We were all over town. We would hit 3-4 different pools in 1 week and try to get my elite group, which is the highest group, would swim 75 minutes 4 times a week. That's all we get. But kids still perform. Again, I'm a big advocate of, it's not about how much you do, it's really about what you do, right? How you do it. But having the Bellevue Club, having our own pools, it's just so great. And the club, because it's a high-end fitness club, so we have the HR department dealing with hiring and everything. We have the billing department, set up all the perpetual automatic billing, and then we have the IT department. Before I even arrived, all my emails, everything set up, and here you go. So I didn't have to do any of that. In addition, we have a boosters club, which formed entirely by parents, and they are there to support me, support the coaching staff, and support everybody, as well as shield any problems that I might running into that I don't have to deal with. And for example, one parent emailed me and asked to be exempt from the volunteer hours. And so what did I do? I forwarded to the workshare person from the Booster Club, and she answered and came up with a solution and was able to help out. Again, simple things like that. I had a parent came in met with me and said, Abby, I'm the travel logistic person. Tell me what days you want to go where, with how many people, everything will be set.
I'll sort it. Wow. What a dream.
So I think logistically, you have the volunteers, you have the travel meets, and you have the meet operations. Those are the three big areas that every club coaches somewhat have to involved. But with this support, we have an amazing meet operation. We have a meet operation person, and we have an officials chair. And right now we have about 44 officials, and possibly 10 more. So this official chair is doing great. And the
Yeah,
meet
absolutely.
operation person, her name's Lorraine, and she'd be like, hey, I don't know what next year gonna look like due to COVID, but if you want to get meets in these pools, I can start getting the contract going. I can have the meets sanctioned. And so just that amazing that I really don't have to worry about it. And guess what that's gonna do is I am able to focus on with the team, with the staff, with coaching every day. I just have so much more energy. So, and those invisible tasks really was weighing me down. My suggestion to your viewers is that we have many talents, right? With the parents, and some view parents one way and some view parents another way. Why not utilize that group of talents and support to support you? And so if we can utilize that, I think it will make our daily job a lot easier, which will really affect our longevity of our coaching career.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned a booster club too. I had Julie Bachman, who is the executive director of Gulf Swimming, on a previous podcast. We were talking about communication, and part of what we were discussing was, like sort of, it's one thing to have customers, right? Like the parents that are paying money for a kid to be on your club. Probably the ultimate step there is to convert customers into fans. And I think, when you mention like a booster club, it's an infrastructure for people to be fans of your team, right? It's right there in the name.
Yeah, exactly. For example, that last night we hosted a Zoom meeting for all the new parents and new families, and some moved from Germany to here. They have no idea about USA Swimming, right? And how the things, even for myself, I moved from Pacific Swimming to Pacific Northwestern Swimming. There are many things I don't know, but if you have a group of people leading you, guiding you through this process, then it'll be a lot easier, and that learning curve, you get over that a lot quicker. So not only that, but everybody feel included, right? You're part of the process, you're part of the family. And that's the culture, something I am really proud of our club to have.
Yeah. One thing I was curious about, I want to backtrack a little bit to a point that you made, and because I've heard you discuss it in other podcasts too, but I wanted to get a little deeper. You talked about your experience, your first generation immigrant to US. My mom was first generation immigrant. I coached abroad. And so I'm wondering, what is something like having that unique experience running that club? You have a lot of people on your club that are also, the parents are first generation immigrants. What's maybe a common misunderstanding people have of families, particularly you talk about the Chinese and Asian families that you ended up working with a lot? Like, what's something that maybe people get wrong in sort of bringing those families into the fold of a USA Swimming Club, that they just wouldn't even know, like, oh, like you need to do this?
Right. I think when typically in the past, and I think things start changing, is a lot of Asian families look at the sports as an extra curriculum, and it's filling the PE credit versus looking the sport as a career. And so they don't really have the exposure or knowledge about the athletics career or student athlete path down in the college. So
we're maybe looking for a more well-rounded kind of like lots of different activities And
Right.
then all of a sudden they come up against this wall of like, hey, your kid's gotten to a level in swimming.
Right. So, I mean, when the kids were age groupers and they were very into it, swimming and racing and all that. But once the kids get to high school, swimming became secondary. So yeah, there's going to be APs, there's going to be this and that. But one thing we have proven over and over, right? You're a good athlete, you're a good student. And not only that, you can really leverage that athletic ability to one, getting into college, better college, or even your dream college
Right.
earlier than everybody else, right? Two, not only that, what you learn from athletics, the family you grew, the family outside your biological family, and the friendship you form, and the perspective of swimming, right? Besides swimming fast, what you learn as a life lesson in and out every single day. And that's going to benefit you way beyond your athletic life. So having that education to the parents and having them seeing it with their own eyes, it's mind-blowing. And it's just, as coach, and I'm just watching the whole movie play out in front of me. It's a beautiful movie there.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to go over it again on this one, but I recommend everybody to go listen to Abby's podcast with Mike Murray. She tells a great story. You tell a really great story on there of a mother, of a kid who sort of wants to pull her kid back from swimming a little bit. And you got really worked up, like as many coaches would, right? And wrote an email back. And I just thought, like, listening to the whole story, I thought, like, this is really good, just salesmanship of the sport of swimming that, like, I know I'm going to learn a lot from. But so again, we're not going over it here, but you can go listen to somewhere else.
Chris, I think a good salesperson or sales pitch is somebody who really believed in the product.
Yeah.
And so you're coming from an organic place and authentic because you really put your stamp behind it and you believe the principle, you believe the process. And people are very smart, they're sensitive. They can pick up and, when you're faking it or you're actually truly sincerely try, to sell this product which you believe. So I think that there's fundamental differences.
Yeah. And it always helps when you're selling something that is like I said, when I worked at Georgia Tech, like, if I'm going to be a salesman, I'd love to be selling Mercedes. That's how I kind of feel about what I've got. I've got a really awesome product. You're going to love it. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And it makes that part really easy. And that's not just a comment about Georgia Tech, but just the sport of swimming in general. Abby, we're coming up against a hard stopping time, and I promised you I would be totally precise on it. I really appreciate you taking some time to come and share everything you've shared here with me and with the people who are going to listen to this. And thank you too for taking good care of Jake out in all right.
And really appreciate it. It's absolutely a pleasure to chat with you and hope to share more in the future. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.